What's going on, guys? Bruce Mattson here, your host show of Metric Scout Fantasy Football. We're into week 3. It's about time to set up our waivers, and we're going to have to start thinking about setting our lineups. To help you guys out, I'm going to be dropping the running back rankings today. My top 40 for week 3. I do this every week. I try and give you a top 40 at each position, especially running backs and receivers. If that's something you're into, hit that subscribe button right now. I should have my top 40 wide receivers out pretty soon after this video, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that one. And then a few days later, I'll re-rank them for the rankings and tiers. That way, I'm changing with the new information, and you have more information to set your lineups with. So I'm coming at you with a lot of information every week. But here are the top 40 running backs, and we're going to go ahead and get this started. First thing we want to look at, and this is part of the process, especially this first set of rankings videos, is the over-unders for the week. And the reason why we look at the over-unders for the week and we look at the spreads is we want to try and predict the game script. The game script's very important. If it's a high over-under, there's a good chance this is going to be a high-scoring game. Not always. That doesn't always happen, but there's a good chance it will. If it's a low over-under with a lower implied point total, that means it's more than likely going to be a slower game script, less fantasy points to go around in that game. Pretty much less scoring in the game, less guys scoring touchdowns, less yards being made. That's what's happening. High-scoring game, 50 over-under, hits over on that even, you get 60 points in the game or whatever. You're getting a lot of guys scoring fantasy points. It makes sense. Of course, some of these games flop. That's just part of it. Some of these guys hit. That's at like a 40 over-under, and they end up scoring 60 points. That's part of the game. That's part of how it is. These over-unders are more ambiguous during the early parts of the season, week 1, 2, 3, as the books get used to these numbers. These numbers are from oddshark.com, and these are an average from a bunch of different books. Got them earlier today, so some of these over-unders have already changed. However, we're just trying to predict whether these are going to be a high-volume game or not. So you may want to take a screenshot of this. Let's move on to the rankings. The first 10. Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Saquon, DeAndre. You're starting them. You're starting. I got Jonathan Taylor as my top guy against the Chiefs. Can't really argue much against that. A lot of people have Christian McCaffrey as the top guy for this week. I'm fine with that as well. I mean, you're starting everybody on this list. Joe Mixon at the Jets is pretty sneaky. I could see Bengals coming in, destroying the Jets a little bit. They're due for a good game. They lost to the Cowboys somehow, some way. Didn't look great against the Steelers in week 1. Now we're on the road to the Jets. Lower over-under. They could smash the over on that one if they're clicking. They got the offensive firepower for that. Offensive line's not been looking good. Tight spread. And if the Bengals are up, they're going to use Mixon. But they're going to use him in the passing game too, like always. So if it's tight, he'll get use. He's pretty safe. Leonard Fournette. We have some ambiguous situation with this offense. Evans out. Godwin hurts. What's up with Julio? Leonard Fournette could be getting some usage here. They're bringing in Cole Beasley. Leonard Fournette could get pounded in the ground this game with so many touches. So you want to value him a little high. Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry are question marks, but touches will be there. Game script hasn't been for either one of them, and especially in these last 2 games. So we're going to have to roll the dice with them and see if the ball rolls their way. Minnesota and Detroit, that should be a high-flying game. A lot of people are going to be on to that game in DFS. That is going to be a chalk game with a lot of chalk correlation plays in it. 53.5 over-under. Decently tight spread. We're going to see some action in that game, especially with Detroit slinging the rock with Goff and company. Nick Chubb's a little bit of a gamble. You don't know what you're going to get, but the upside's there against Pittsburgh. Cleveland's favored by 5 points. Could be running it at the end of the game. I imagine he's going to get his usage. He's kind of like a safe guy for touches. And let's see what happens with those touches. And running back's been a shit show this year. It has been a big-time shit show. Should just go over the numbers of the running backs of weeks 1 and 2 just to show you how much of a shit show it is if you haven't looked. But the top 20, 30, 40 running backs, it's not what you would predict. It's been off and on. Javonte Williams, if you want him higher, put him up higher. I don't care. 11, tier-wise, it's going to be interesting when I put these tiers together. But I like Javonte Williams just because his usage in the passing game. He's either number 1 or number 2 in targets for Denver. And I like that. Over-under's kind of low, but it's not too bad. 45, so middle of the road there compared to the other games on the slate. Not bad, but I love his usage in the passing game. Aaron Jones is Aaron Jones. Tough matchup against Tampa Bay. Tough run defense, but touches will be there. And since he's against a tough run defense with a low over-under, he's ranked a little bit lower than usual. Clyde Edwards-Helaire's sneaking up there. He's sneaking up there. Patrick Mahomes go burr. High over-unders all the time. He's getting workload. Let's see what happens. But he's getting usage in the passing game, a little bit in the run game, and starting to show himself a bit. Antonio Gibson's in a good matchup here. Philly's an interesting matchup overall, defensive-wise. I can see Washington just checking it down to Gibson and him getting some explosive runs. Naji Harris is in a low-volume game. Still good. I might have to bump him up a little bit. Touches should be there. The season hasn't been there so far, but battling with some injuries. But let's see what happens with him. David Montgomery had a good week last week. This is a decent matchup. Low over-under, but Houston scrappy. This could be the over on this one. Because Houston doesn't go down without a fight. Chicago's due to show up with their offense. This could be a fun one to watch. James Robinson has been balling out, coming back from that Achilles injury. He has been exceeding expectations. And this is a conservative ranking. It probably should be ranked a little bit higher. Kareem Hunt can give you top 10 numbers any given week. If he's using the passing game or if he's the guy that gets that big touch, that long run, if he sees the open field. Josh Jacobs is in these good game scripts, and he needs to start hitting soon. To prove his worth in fantasy. Darrell Henderson at the 20 spot. I don't love it. I might be moving him around once it comes to making my tiers here earlier this week. But a good over-under here. Arizona has been funny. The Rams is using him. Cam Akers got some more usage in week 2. We've got to keep an eye on that. Makes neither one of these running backs fun to own in fantasy. But you got to roll the dice with one of them. Here we go. 21-30. Tony Pollard at 21. He's just an explosion waiting to happen. But there is some risk, especially if they want to use Zeke more. If it's a Zeke game, or if they don't use him as much in the passing game, or if that big run doesn't hit. Against the Giants, very low over under here. 39.5. We're getting into 30s. They're not expecting this to be a high-scoring game, but it could hit that over. Because 39 is so low, that's not hard not to hit that over. Spread's pretty tight, though. I think Tony Pollard does have a chance. Miles Sanders is underrated. I'm probably underrated with his ranking. Good game script here. Tough defense to run on. But the volume's there. His usage in the passing game could happen. He's explosive in the open field. Cordell Patterson might be low on as well because he somehow scores points. He's used in the offense and is a good asset for his team. Damien Pierce, we're waiting for that time. It may not happen against Chicago since it's supposed to be a lower scoring game, but you never know. He's good in good yards after contact. He's displaying good vision. And Ezekiel Elliott. I don't know if we're watching him die on us or what, but I'm moving him down more each week. And it's hard not to. His games are going to come. It's probably be when Dak's back because they need to be able to push the ball more. And Zeke isn't the guy that you lean on for 30 touches a game, 25 touches a game anymore. You're just going to have to take your spots with him. A.J. Dillon, a little low, but this Tampa Bay game's a little tough to rank on. Tougher defense. Could be a lower scoring one. Very interesting one here. I could see Tampa Bay slowing things down since they're low in receivers. Could be running a lot of clock in this game. However, if A.J. Dillon hits the goal line, catches a few balls, that's all he needs to do, and he could have a big game. Breece Hall catches the ball in the backfield, explosive. All it takes is a couple of these, and he's good. Travis Etienne, we need him to show up. That's why I got him ranked at 28. It's pretty low. But he has just as much upside as anybody else. He's losing some steam, though, compared to what we were hoping he'd be. I'm not out on him either. This is conservative, but I think I'm still a little bit higher than some people doing their weekly rankings. Michael Carter, I like Hall better than Carter because I like to chase Hall's explosiveness as the upside. A lot of people have Carter ranked ahead of Hall because Carter's safer. You feel good about it. But the odds of Carter winning your fantasy matchup isn't as good as Hall. But Carter can still win your fantasy matchup for you. But you just rank him how you want to rank him. I just like Hall a little bit better than Carter. Jeff Wilson's there because he's projected to get the touches here in San Francisco. However, it's a trick bag there. I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it for him. Decent over-under here. I don't know much about the Niners. Let's see what they're going to do. Nobody knows what's going to happen here. Here we go. I got you an extra one, 31-41 here. We got the Patriot brothers here, Harrison and Stevenson. Low over-under. Hard to run on Baltimore. I want to just see who gets the most touches. And can it be enough workload to be fantasy relevant or fantasy relevant enough to where it can help us win our matchup? Next one is James Conner, Alvin Kamara. Where and how they feel coming back from injury is where their final ranks will be. If Alvin Kamara's full go, you jack him up. If James Conner's full go, looking good, you jack him up. If it looks like he's going to be playing through the injury, you kind of be conservative. And obviously, if they're out, they're out. But we're monitoring the situation. We're monitoring the practices throughout the week. I expect Kamara to play. I don't know much about James Conner. Cam Akers at 35. This is more of an upside play compared to what's left on the board due to his explosiveness, due to his ability to crank out yards. However, it's not cranking. It's not cranking yet. The touches aren't there. Good over-under, though. Decent spread for this. We could see him break out this game, but are we betting on it? That 35 rank's not betting on it. It's just with a bunch of other jabroni running backs here. Jabroni running backs, Chase Edmonds, Devin Singletary, Rashad Penny, Jamal Williams, Melvin Gordon, Khalil Herbert. Take your pick. Take your pick. Any guys after this, take your pick. Bump them up. I don't even care. Bump up whatever you want at this point because we just got a bunch of jabronis. Some of them can hit. Some of them might not. Singletary's in a good matchup. Jamal Williams could get a touchdown or two. He's done that before. He gets those goal line touches. Rashad Penny could blow up because he did that last year. Melvin Gordon could get some good opportunity because he's still good. Khalil Herbert's explosive, but everything needs to click for these running backs to happen. Even with Cam Akers, something needs to click there. He is getting some touches looking from week 2, but things just got to click. This is like the click group. So one of these guys are going to pop off, maybe 2. We just don't know, but we got some good game scripts here. But this is my top 40 running backs. This is what I got for the week right now. It's not a 100% finished product. I'm looking at the matchups. I'm trying to gauge things out, but also I get something out for you right now so you can look forward to your matchups and to see what happens. That's why I'm trying to get these rankings out, and then I'll deliver more of a finished product here next couple days. Maybe even tomorrow when I drop the tier rankings. The tier rankings I have a lot of fun with as well because I like to move guys up and down the tiers, play with them a little bit, have fun with it on camera. I think those are fun activities to do while messing with the rankings. I think tiers are better than straight up rankings because if I have a guy at 31, he may not be valued much more than the guy at 41. Like what I was saying about this 35 to 41 group, just rank them however, even move guys under it, around them, value them the same, because I don't have much of a difference. They're like in their same tier where they just need some sparks to happen for them to have some relevancy for us, but there's also a good chance there's no relevancy for us. It's just how it works. That's just how these games work. But let me know who you're starting this week, who you're looking to pick up. Drop that in the comments. Smash that like button on the way out. Helps the video on the algorithm. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I'm dropping rankings every week. Two sets of rankings a week for each position, or at least the running backs and wide receivers, because that's what people want. The quarterbacks and tight ends, people don't click on as much because that's kind of set for them. But I'm here for you. Thank you for watching, though, and I'll catch you next time.